What is going on? AJ here. Before we get the show started, I want to let you know this episode is brought to you by MUZMM.com. They make these pretty killer duffel bag / backpack hybrids. Pretty darn sick, I gotta say. Anyway, if you want to save 20% on your next order, you can go to MUZMM.com/discount /STGeekPod. You can also use our discount code STGeekPod at checkout. Again, that's for 20% off, but we'll talk about that a little later on in the episode. Let's get things started. Welcome back to another episode of the STGeek Podcast, episode 22. Our podcast is now a year extra into being able to legally drink, guys. What's up? Anyway, we have my
right.
What's that?
I'll drink to that.
Yeah.
What time is it?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere at least.
Right,
I think it's 11:30 in the morning.
Let's do it.
All right. So as per usual, we talk about movies, gaming, comics, and TV shows. I'm AJ, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts
Peter,
John.
And again, we're going to be talking about movies, gaming, comics, TV shows. We already said that already. That's fine. But we do have some news throughout the week that we need to talk about. But also, as you can see, we are going to be reviewing, that is, Umbrella Academy, that's on Netflix. Pretty damn excited to talk about that. But before we do, Space Jam 2. Didn't mean for that to rhyme.
Yeah.
All right.
Space Jam 2. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yay,
That's pretty
finally.
funny. LeBron James. That's been rumored for such a long time.
Oh my
and
God.
I guess it's
Right?
officially a thing.
Yeah, you know what? In my broadcasting class last semester during the fall, I actually covered a story on it. Fudge, what city is it? I think it's being recorded in LA. Anyway, whatever city it's being recorded in, they paid the movie like millions of dollars just so that way they would shoot in that town specifically, whatever portion of LA that it is in. And I was like, what the heck? Like, it was a fuckload of money too.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Shit.
pretty wild. Anyway,
Crazy,
yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on all that?
I think it's going to suck.
I agree, yeah.
I mean, I've heard that LeBron James is charming on screen. I haven't watched the movie that he's in. Usually he plays like support roles.
I've seen some of his scenes, and he's a halfway decent actor, and he's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
But I just don't think, and I don't follow sports, but
Same.
I do know
most
that he's
part.
good. Some people love him, some people hate him, as with any athlete ever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just don't think it's been too long.
Do people even fucking care about the Looney Tunes anymore?
That's
Seriously.
what I mean.
Well, you know what? I thought the same thing, but yesterday I was on YouTube, and on my random homepage, it showed like the longest marathon of Looney Tunes cartoons ever, and it was like 4 hours long of Looney Tunes, and it had like, over the course of 5 years, about 30-something million views. So, I mean, that does show, but it did take 5 years to get there, though.
Old people recently discovering the internet.
That's true, right? What's this YouTube? Yes, exactly. But I mean, Space Jam, cool. I loved it as a kid, the original. But I feel like that was something special. I don't know if that's worth rehashing now.
They're just
Agreed.
rehashing everything. And then
Yeah.
you also got Men in Black 3 coming out. I
At
don't
least
care about that at all.
I think
I hope
that'll
that'll
be
be
Ghostbusters.
better. Ghostbusters.
This one.
I mean, we'll see. You mean the new?
We talked about a
Ghostbusters?
movie, yeah, because it's supposed to be a sequel, right? It's supposed to,
Yeah, the one.
Yeah, they're-
Ghostbusters 3.
They're trying to do sequels all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing it for years. That's just they can't think of anything original. That's what.
So
they,
let's just try to revive an old franchise.
Yep, that's what they do.
Bad
They either
Boys, there's
reboot it
another
or
one.
make a
That's
sequel
true.
to it.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think we need a Space Jam 2. I was fine with having the original. I don't know any little kids that are pining for Space Jam 2 either. Not that I know very many little kids for that matter. But either way,
Good
I'm just
save.
saying, I don't know. Yeah, well, except for the ones I keep in my basement. Beyond that, though, no, Space Jam 2, I'm good. But again, speaking of movies, though, we have a Dark Phoenix trailer that came out, the final one before the movie's released. I don't know if that's
Probably.
really
I don't
gonna be
know when the
case.
hell does this come out.
I don't even know. But you know what? I didn't really care. But I will say, with the latest trailers of Dark Phoenix, I'm actually getting a little more hype for them. I have to
Are
say.
you?
I am a little
Do
bit.
you see
Yeah.
the downgrade in the costumes? Do you see
Oh, really?
the Mystique?
I actually
How
did not
how,
notice that, no.
Oh my god.
Really?
It looks pretty awful.
You can
it looks
see the
like it's
budget
a par-
cuts?
It looks like it's a parody of itself.
Professor Xavier's hard on times right now. We can't afford the top tier suits anymore. That leather is premium. All right.
Is it leather though? It looks like it's a weird
It's
plastic.
pleather now. I think for sure.
The one thing from the trailer that gets me hype is that it looks like they're finally gonna do at least in some degree space stuff.
They already did. They did it. It's called Dark Phoenix.
That had nothing to do with space stuff. They didn't go into space.
Oh,
There
I
was
guess
nothing
that's
space
true.
related.
She just
kind of became the Phoenix.
It didn't show the Phoenix come from space and
Yeah,
attack her
but
and
they're
all that.
alluding to that in this trailer, so that gives me
confirmed?
some hope. Well, there's a shot. She talks about it's one of the characters talks to Jean about the Phoenix entity. And also, there's a shot where there's like a spaceship in space or like a space station like blowing up or some shit.
Can you imagine this is what connects it to the MCU?
It's not gonna.
I know, but amazing.
I actually don't hope that's the case because I would hope that it would be a better movie.
They're not gonna do that. They're not gonna bring anybody back.
Yeah,
I don't see any need to or anyway. Moving on though, speaking of things that have to do with superheroes, kind of, not really actually in this lineup, that is, but we do have the EVO lineup for 2019, EVO being Evolution Tournament 2019, pretty much the world tournament of fighting games held in Las Vegas, Nevada. Super hype, as we've mentioned in episodes past. Us three go to it every year for like the past 9, are we on 9 years now?
I think we're on 9 years, yeah.
Fuck.
That's crazy to think.
Yeah,
So we started back in 2011. Is that how math works? Something like that?
Something like that.
Okay,
yeah.
for sure. I never passed trigonometry.
Wow, that's crazy to think.
Yeah.
But super hype about that. The lineup has a slight bit of controversy, but I feel like it was only a matter of time until this happened, at least as far as Smash Brothers goes. Peter, do you want to give us a little more on that?
Melee is out.
Yes.
And
it's been dethroned once again.
Time.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't agree with that.
I think a lot of people feel the same way about that game as they do about other games like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, stuff like that, just because I feel like that is the quote-unquote pinnacle of what that video game franchise in particular, like that's like the top tier of top tier for that franchise, as far as it's the fastest game out there. It doesn't have the best roster, no, only because you can only use probably a third of the roster is actually competitive, you could say.
So, excuse me. As a fan of the Marvel vs. Capcom franchise, that's my
up
number
to
one
3.
franchise.
Up to 3. You don't like Infinite.
No, I don't like Infinite. I gave it a chance.
Let's
That's because it's
throw that
bad.
out there,
That's because it's bad.
He's gonna smack talk it. I agree. It shouldn't have been an Evo. I agree with that 100%. But Melee, like, why?
No,
it had the
that's what I'm
numbers, it had
getting
the
at.
viewership.
That's true.
See, I don't understand.
They're getting paid.
Like
Evo, it's all about the money. I don't support
In the
Evo
end.
at all. I don't think I'm going to do it this year. I'm totally against.
What do you
Evo.
mean? I'm confused. What do you mean?
It's pretty much talked about it throughout the FGC that they're getting paid from these companies. Samurai Showdown, they don't. Is there any actual real gameplay of that? There's a bit. Now
the latest trailer just
the game's
launched,
not even
and there's more. There's like they showed supers and stuff like that. A few more characters were shown as well. I mean, the game does look fun. Don't get me wrong. I want to buy that game day one and maybe possibly ever get decent at it, I guess. But I don't see there being a big audience for that game compared to Melee. Not at all.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Okay, so what I was getting at, kind of, I want to come back to what you're talking about.
Sure.
But all I mean was I don't understand how Melee is still so popular this far back, because it's pretty much what you were saying, AJ, about it being the fastest.
It's
about
like the highest level of skill.
You only being able to use like 5 characters.
Yeah.
It's Marvel too.
Yeah, essentially.
Like,
you
and
are
I don't
right
understand how Melee is still surviving within its own community. Like, I just don't. I'm not bashing it. If you like it, you like it. That's fine. But it's just something that's always baffled me. I don't understand how that game has such longevity.
It's hype to watch, I think. I mean, we watched it, the one grand finals the first year it came back to Evo, and we were kind of yelling and cheering.
hype.
Ice Climbers was insane. I believe the player won with Ice Climbers at Evo. Did they
I don't
not?
remember.
I think that might have been the case. That one that broken ass grab that it has.
wobbles?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so freaking tight. Like, people were cheering every single time that happened, and
it gets
the
the
opponent
the
got
crowd
so
hype.
salty
Fuck
every
yeah.
time it
Such
happened.
a broken game.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so broken.
But it's so awesome to watch.
It's Marvel vs. Capcom 2
It
initially.
pleases the crowd. It brings in the money.
Yeah.
It brings in the viewership.
It's the fastest Smash Bros. Game.
It's so great.
It's awesome. Yeah. It is a little stale in the sense that, again, you do only see the same characters. You see Sheik, you see Fox, you see maybe Falco, you see Ice Climbers, you see... Are there many more beyond that? I guess a little bit of Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, you don't really see too many. I mean, there's some probably people out there that are like, I'm a low-tier hero, rocking Mewtwo, still. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Captain Falcon, I'm sorry, there's another one. But still, there isn't that much to it. So I do understand, Peter, in that regard. But every time I do take the time to watch that game, I have a pretty good time watching it.
And then there's always,
competitively.
like, the backstory to it. It's not only about the game itself, but it's about the players. I mean, there's
Exactly.
the rivals, the newcomers who are, like... Because I'm sure eventually people rise up in Melee, right? That were never really on top.
I don't know about that game. That game, it's like if you're not a veteran, you're out. Like you can't keep up.
You
with
can't
them.
just can't keep up.
I don't.
You
I don't
can't
think
get that
so.
good.
There's a reason why you see the top ones
good.
every
I'm sure
time.
there's examples.
Oh, sure,
of that
yeah,
happening, but
because we don't follow that particular scene very much.
Because like a good
Smash
example
Bros, that
with
is.
Marvel 3 was Ryan LV. Like how he came out of nowhere the last 2 years of the game, and he wrecked shop until the very end, and then Christie figured him out. But
yeah.
Exactly.
like those kind of stories are what keep these games alive.
Oh, for sure. Like like you said, like the underdog that no one saw coming and ends up winning everything. You know, it's been Ryan LV in the past. Before that, it was Kane Blue River who played that team Big Body and all that. And
That shit was great. Oh my god, when he was dominating for like 3 years, and then he was doing it for like 2-3 years.
Yeah,
it was great.
What was his team? Hagar, Sentinel, and who else?
It was Hulk, Hagar, Sentinel.
There we go.
You know,
Thank you.
To this very day, I still watch that money match with him and
F
F-Champ.
Champ.
And
yeah.
then the grand finals after where he fucking whoops his ass. Oh,
So great.
It was
it's
crazy
satisfying
to see.
to watch.
It's so satisfying.
Team
I'll
Hyper
still
Armor,
go
man.
back and watch. There's a lot. That's one of my favorite Marvel 3 moments.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I still like when Kosuro at final round he first just showed
He just wrecked shop.
he
Fucked
showed
everybody.
the anti-Phoenix tech against F-Champ.
Yes,
With
the
the
roll
roll and yeah, I got so hype. It's so fucking hype.
everybody got hyped. Now I'm gonna watch that later.
There you go. I know, right? Maybe after work, I might jump on that too. I've gone back and I think 2 years ago I watched that fight, and it was pretty fun to watch still.
It's so good.
Yes. So moving on from gaming a little bit, or actually, no, we'll continue with gaming, but
Well,
just
hold
a
on,
different.
before we move on.
You want to touch on what
I
John's
wanted to
saying?
talk about what John was talking about.
Okay, go ahead. I'm
So
sorry.
This is the first time hearing
controversy.
about this, about them being paid. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me, especially with Street Fighter V, because Capcom's really pushing that for esports.
Right,
Um,
but it
But
has numbers.
Yes,
that
it
game
does.
still has numbers.
High competitors
How
and
do
high
you-
viewers.
How do you put a game, which they did it last year too, that isn't even released yet, and expect for people to be happy about it, and not assume companies are paying you at that point?
I mean, obviously, again, people see how many views Evo gets, you know?
Yeah.
It gets in the high thousands upon thousands upon thousands. It takes over any other stream going on at that same time. I remember being hyped several years back because it overtook League of Legends when League of Legends was the big game being streamed at the time, you know? And it happens year after year after year, which is great. And so it goes to show why companies like SNK want to put a lot of money and promote Samurai Showdown, because if those hundreds of thousands of people are watching, they might buy the game as well, you know? So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were being paid to have games being featured.
I mean, it's all business. This is where
Of
the
course.
FGC is at this point.
Yeah,
Well,
they
no,
want to
because
become
then-
legit in esports.
Then
It makes
you
sense.
have Combo Breaker, which literally whoever has the most entrants gets the better stream times. It's not about the money,
which
it's
I think
about-
is fair.
and that'll end up being the bigger tournament in the long run. I think so.
Because it's
could
more
be.
community driven, and I'll agree with you 100%. Evo,
And you know, the guy
in
who
my
runs
opinion,
it is
isn't too much
a
of
good
that
guy.
anymore.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, thumbs up from John. I like that. Well, again, I understand that. Again, Combo Breaker is more of a morally run tournament for sure. But again, business equals money equals that's how you're going to get things done
Like
at the
you
end
said,
of the
the
day.
intro, Evo is the biggest fighting game tournament of the year. So it's the one that has the most eyes on it. So of course it's going to be the one that's more business savvy. It kind of has to be, really.
Yeah, if it wants to survive and become maintain its legacy, I guess you could say,
Right.
And its numbers, of course. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I look forward to Evo every year anyway, because again, while I don't agree with some of the business practices of Evo, at the end of the day, it's some of the most hyped times I have throughout my year. I get to hang out with my friends and just go crazy and
people
yell
lose
my
money.
lungs out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's always a good time for sure. So I recommend, if you guys have not been into Evo before, if you have been on the fence, just try this year. I think you'll have a good time, especially if there's a game that's going to be there that you want to see high level play of. You will see the best of the best from all around the world come out, and it's just a great experience. Speaking of gaming, though, let's go into Weezer being in Fortnite.
Yep.
I'm not familiar with this.
So Weezer debuted 4 songs from their new album in Fortnite on a private island, on their own Weezer-themed island.
Nice. Okay.
What
Really?
the fuck does...
Was
what,
it looping
So
all
W
day?
fingers everywhere.
What do words even mean anymore?
Right?
What is happening here?
There was a live stream also of that DJ Marshmello, and he did the same
That was a
thing.
few months back. Yeah, he did he performed a concert in Fortnite somehow
Live,
which
yeah.
technically speaking is pretty cool.
I heard the audio
Just the
quality was
idea
good,
behind
too.
it.
Didn't they do that? Didn't they make a rave or something that was like that? Or is that what I'm
That's
thinking?
what you're
That's
talking
probably
about.
what
Yeah,
you're thinking.
it was pretty
Did
crazy.
people pay for it?
No.
No, it's
So
a
it's free.
free-to-play
He
game.
just decided to.
It's free publicity, and there's millions of people playing. So why
He's
not?
already kind of like a pretty prominent figure in the Fortnite community.
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly how because I don't follow it too much these days.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I wasn't too surprised. But I mean, that's cool. That's fun, I guess. If you're into it, you're into it. If you don't, hating on Fortnite is the new fun thing to do for everybody.
Well, it like exploded. I thought, like what PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. I thought that was the explosion of Battle Royale, but no, it was Fortnite. I mean, there's a reason why people call that game style Battle Royale nowadays is because of Fortnite. So I mean, it goes to show that with fame comes also infamy as well, or whatever, or just like a nefarious look on itself. So I would say, I mean, it's no surprise that people hate on Fortnite. I'm not a fan. I've never played the game, and I don't care to. The aesthetic isn't what I want. The gameplay isn't exactly what I'm looking for. I could see myself having a funner time playing a game that I like with a similar style, like maybe a Halo Battle Royale. Do I need that? No, but I think I can have fun.
Have you guys tried Apex?
No, but I've heard great things.
Yeah,
I've only started playing it about a week ago, and it instantly became my favorite version of Battle Royale.
Cool.
And I was already late. Like, people were already talking. I had already heard a week of people saying it was the best game. It was the best Battle Royale game in a lot of people's opinions. And so when I jumped in, thinking there's no way that could possibly be true, and it happened to me instantly.
Gotcha.
Instantly, everything about it is great. There's little. It has a respawn system, which other Battle Royale games don't have, which changes a lot of how you play the game. On top of that, there's a lot of little quality of life things that it has that, again, other Battle Royale games don't have, which you're already seeing other Battle Royale games like Fortnite start to copy those things. It's one of those things where, in hindsight, it's a wonder how these things weren't already in Battle Royales. But I mean, they're here now, and they beat them to the punch. So funny thing about this. Apparently, a year ago, the map for Apex Legends got leaked on Reddit, on the Titanfall subreddit. And nobody gave a shit.
Well, probably people were like, "What's an Apex? Who cares?"
Yeah, they didn't. Nobody cared.
And now on top of the world.
It's funny how.
So the game was out back then.
No, it just
So
came
it
out
was
a
just
couple
a
weeks
random
ago.
map, and people were like, "What the fuck
Yeah,
is this?"
Yeah.
I believe the post titled was
Interesting.
leaked map for Titanfall Battle Royale game.
Titanfall, interesting.
Because it's by Respawn. It's the same
okay.
people. And Apex exists in the Titanfall universe. Like,
I didn't know that.
It's lore.
That's pretty cool.
within Titanfall.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Loved the
It is
first
pretty
Titan.
cool.
Well, I didn't love the first Titanfall. The gameplay was fun, but I heard Titanfall 2's campaign mode is awesome.
Is that
It
the one
is.
with the mechs?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It's
nice.
pretty. It's a lot of fun.
I've played the
It
first
really
one, yeah.
is. First and the second one are both good. And yeah, the story in the second one, it's one of the better ones of that year, for
Do
sure.
you get the robots
That's
in
cool.
Apex?
No.
Oh,
It's just... you lost me.
Aw.
We lost John.
Did you ever
robots.
play Titanfall, John?
A bit.
Oh, really? It
tiny
was,
bit.
it was fun. It was like
I'm John. I barely play Titanfall, but I won't play Apex because there's no mechs.
I never said I wasn't gonna play.
the mechs were fun though. I like Titanfall for a while because you get to be a foot soldier, but if you want, you can also be in a mech and wreck shop that way too. But anyway, this is
There's
about
no robots?
Titanfall.
Fuck.
I know, right? Damn. For sure. Well, a little more into gaming as well. We do have Kingdom Hearts 3 story DLC leaked featuring Shion, I believe is how the name is pronounced,
You haven't
right?
finished it yet, have you, AJ?
Still haven't.
course.
I've
Okay.
yet to play it since last week.
Hold on,
Of
guys.
course.
I'm gonna turn off my brain for this segment.
Sure. Okay. Go
Hold
ahead.
on.
So what else
Done.
is new?
This is the John doesn't
More
care
so
segment,
than usual?
right?
Gotcha.
Okay. Go ahead.
He really turned it off. He's
Silent.
Yeah.
Go
okay.
on.
Well, I mean, yeah, Shion's going to be in it. That's cool.
That's cool. I didn't know that there was going to actually be DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3. I
Yeah.
didn't hear any announcement of that at all.
Same
So
here.
it's cool
So
to
I
see.
think really the takeaway is there's going to be story DLC, which is exciting because, well, I can't say too much because you haven't finished it, but it's an ending.
For sure.
But,
Well,
Are you happy with it?
Or it, not really.
No.
No, I don't think
Cliffhanger?
I don't think it's satisfying. I don't want to spoil anything for AJ.
yeah, please. Thank
but
you.
I don't. I should, because you've had plenty
At
of
this
time.
point, yeah.
I haven't had play. I barely had enough time to finish Umbrella Academy. God dang it. I finished it last night before we even started
That game's
this,
been
so-
out for a month.
I know.
AJ, my next news story is actually the spoiler to Kingdom Hearts.
What a coincidence.
So I think you have to listen to it.
Fair enough. Well, let's see. We talked about Halo, or I talked about Halo earlier just a second ago. There will be a launch title for the new Xbox, so therefore it was not going to be on Xbox One if that's the case, and that's going to be maybe cross-generation.
Well, it's a rumor. It's a rumor that the next Halo game, Halo Infinite, will be a launch title for the next Xbox hardware, whatever that ends up being called.
That sounds crazy, and I am looking forward to that for sure.
I wouldn't be surprised. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's a great way to launch
the rumor
system.
is that it's going to be an open world-esque type game.
Mm-hmm.
So if they need stronger hardware to push a game like that, then I'm all for it.
For sure. I mean, obviously, I would say that the Xbox One X is more than powerful to do something like that. But then again, we don't know the graphical leap that it's going to be for the next generation of Xbox consoles as well. So it will be cool to see. Though, again, from the trailer that they showed, was it just last year when they showed Halo Infinite?
I think so.
If not the year before. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say that the graphics wowed me by any means. It looked like more Halo to me. But again, it did give that open world kind of feel, kind of vibe to it when I was watching the trailer. So I'm looking forward to seeing if it does need to be cross-platform, or at least on the new Xbox, will it take advantage of the hardware very much so? I'm hoping, because I would like to see Halo in a whole new level, in like a whole new way. Because I mean, I've been a fan of the franchise since the first one. I look forward to seeing a new.
Good, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I look forward to seeing what Master Chief is going to be up to next.
Let's form a team. STGeek featuring Glenn.
Right? I'm down, dude.
I'm
Diego
down.
played a little bit too back in the day for like Halo 5 and 4.
He could be on the enemy's team.
You'll be the one guy that's on Xbox Live. Hey, I didn't get on the same team, guys.
I
Well,
swore I sent you the invite.
right? Squads of 4.
Sorry, Diego.
Dang.
Keep
But
me
we're
on
playing
roll.
Big Team Battle. I think they
If
got.
one of us are sick, the mop can step in, and then there'll be Diego.
Oh my god.
If one of us is sick and we can't find anybody on LFG and none of our other friends are online,
And my mom won't do me the favor.
Right? I think I have a
and
little
my
sister
cat's
that doesn't play,
outside, then maybe Diego could play.
I love you, Diego.
Yeah, we love you, Diego. But you're not playing. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, God. But I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait because obviously the new consoles will be shown off this year at E3. I mean, they have to. They were hinted at this past year. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the hell that's going to look like. I hope we see more Halo Infinite. I mean, if it's going to be a launch title, I imagine the new console's coming out, if not by this fall, then next fall. It's got to be. And I'm looking forward to that very much so.
Definitely.
That's all I can really
let's do
say
it.
about it. But again, just to finish off a little more gaming news, we did have Pokemon Sword and Shield come into play. We got our first trailer, first look at the starters. What are you guys' opinions on the starters?
They look like shit. I don't think they look good.
Have you
Wow.
been seeing that Powerpuff memes
Yes.
going around that they're comparing them to the Powerpuff?
I have not
Yeah.
seen that, no. But I guess they're of similar color, right? Green, white, blue, or well, no, Blossom was pink.
Yeah.
Close enough
Green,
to
blue, red,
whatever.
whatever. Yeah, close enough. That's all right. I mean, I think Scorbunny, the fire type rabbit one, looks kind of cool. I'm always the guy that picks the water starters, so Sobble is who I'm gonna have to go with. I'm personally pretty hype about this, but again, as been said in multiple episodes, I am like the Pokemon fan of this podcast.
I've been out of Pokemon for the past like 2 or 3 generations.
Agreed. Me too. Yep.
One of the biggest reasons is because the designs of the Pokemon are horrible.
I could probably show you some ones you might like.
You
But
don't like
fair
the
enough.
sword?
The sword, the
You
ice
just
cream
ice cream?
cone, the garbage can, and like all they. Yeah, I was weird.
Hey, I like Chandelure, man. That character is top tier in Pokken. You watch out. That'll get you.
I can't do it. I'm just like,
That keep-away game.
what is this anymore? What even is this?
Fair enough. But I mean, I will say some of the ones you named were designed by American illustrators, not by the Japanese, and they're the ones.
Pokemon?
What's up?
Who approved the Pokemon?
I guess that's a fair
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping they learn their lesson. Probably just keep it with Japanese illustrators from now on. That way we don't get.
I'm a little offended. Why are you taking away work from us?
I mean, hey, if there's illustrators out there that can do it
if
well,
I wanna
that happen to
make
be American,
a
that's great.
watered bottle Pokemon.
A
I should be
bottle.
able to submit that shit.
There is actually a Pokemon that has a form that looks like a
Oh
washing
my
machine.
God.
Is there a gun Pokemon?
Not yet. But the day there is one, I'll be sure to let you know if there's
Yes,
like
please.
a Glock Pokemon. Glockachu. Anyway, okay, so there's that. But I'm looking forward to it. It looks like they're going for potentially a more open world feel to it. I can't quite tell due to the trailer, but it does look like it might be going for that. It looks like they're trying to expand what it is like to travel through the region, and I'm hoping that's the case. I think this looks a little bit better than Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, which again were pretty fun games that are good like rehashes of Red, Blue, Yellow. So I'm hoping that Generation 8 with the Galar region, I believe it's called, I'm hoping it makes a big splash.
I do like how they kind of went full 3D in this one as opposed to 2.5 like they've done in the previous ones.
Yes.
So that's cool, I guess. And I do like how it's third person. The camera kind of like when you go into caves, they show you that the camera kind of follows you into it.
Yes.
And it legit feels more like a maze in that aspect. I think that's going to be fun gameplay wise.
It is fun.
But I'm probably not going to play it.
No, I don't blame you. That's fine. But I mean, they've been 3D since for like 2 generations now.
They've been
Back when
2.5
X and Y
3D.
came out. What's that?
They've been 2.5 3D. It's still been top down, but it's still very much up, down, left, right.
Yeah. Well, you know, in X and Y they changed that.
How so?
Well, I mean, it's full 3D models. The environments themselves are 3D as well.
But you travel still in an up, down, like that's what I'm saying. That's
Oh, I
2.5.
see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you are right in that regard. Well, left. I mean, you do go diagonally and stuff like that. Like you move around, but you're not walking around in an orb.
Is there a Z-axis or is it just X and Y?
That's a good question. No, it is still
Pokemon.
X and Y. You're right.
Fair
enough.
I can't
Pokemon
answer that
reference.
question. Wow.
No, yeah. You
That's
are
a good
right. In that
It's like
question,
regard.
Street Fighter 4. That's 2.5. They're 3D models, but
Yeah.
it's still in a 2D.
2D.
Or I guess, yeah, any 2D fighting game for that matter. 3D models, but yeah, 2D plane.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say you're right in that regard. So that is, again, something to be excited about with Sword and Shield right now is that they are kind of improving upon the overworld aspects and how you're going to move about that world for sure. Anyway, let's move on a little bit. Soulja Boy releases new song sampling.
Boy?
Main Zelda theme.
Yep.
It's cool to hear about Soulja Boy in the news again.
I listened to 5 seconds of it, and I'm like, this sucks.
Oh, that's sad. Never mind. Okay.
He's gonna claim it's the greatest thing on the planet.
I
though.
mean,
I'm sure.
I mean,
And
every rapper does that.
publicity,
he's
yeah.
extra hard about it. Though.
Yeah, so that's funny. I just thought that was funny. It was worth bringing up. Good
Sure.
times.
Why not? Okay. Well, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order to be revealed at Star Wars Celebration in April.
That was that game I mentioned last week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Respawn's working on it.
Oh, cool.
So the people that made Titanfall are the ones making this game.
Well, again, but that's also they develop it, but it's published by EA,
Yep.
the devil of
Yes.
video games. But again, I mean, EA has turned out good things just
Why are
because
they
they
the
put
devil?
just because they just it's kind of like, you know, the way you think about Evo and how it's run, that's EA. Equate
That's
it to
a
that.
very good comparison.
You could say it that way. They're all about money, and fucking over the consumer.
You kind of have to be though. This day and
mean,
age, it
yeah.
sucks. Like that's the way that's where the video game industry is at. Like if your game isn't the top selling game at the time that it's released, it's considered a failure. No matter how much money it makes, it's still considered a failure.
Right.
Which is scary. It's a very scary time to be a game developer. You
Yeah.
hear it time and time again how different studios have layoffs and just
or
outright
shutting down
shut
altogether.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's within it's for a good purpose. I don't think they're doing it in a good way.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination. Battlefront 2 being a prime example of that. How they
Oh,
legitimately released a half. They could have released a finished game, but they hid so much of it behind a paywall.
Exactly. Well, it's like, again, it's different because mobile games are usually free to download, and if you want, you can pay as you go. But Battlefront 2 is a full price $60 game in America anyway, $60, and then there's still multiple there's microtransactions throughout it. So it's like, how can you justify
There's
doing that?
microtransactions to unlock characters that they advertised. It was just like you had to either grind, I think it was like 80 to 120 hours
It
of
was
gameplay
ridiculous.
to earn enough credits to unlock Darth Vader, or you could just pay, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Right, it's Darth Vader. He should be in any game that you're playing a Star Wars. Like, I mean, well, maybe not every, if the story doesn't pertain to him, but Battlefront 2, the multiplayer isn't story driven. You know, I mean, it had a cool campaign, I heard, and I watched some gameplay of it, and that looked great. That was what you got your $60 for, but to have to pay more money to even get power ups as well, it was pay to win at that point also, because if you paid money, you can then get drop-ins, which or whatever they're called, and then you could get buffs throughout your multiplayer match. When it's like, you shouldn't have to do that.
That's crazy.
There's
Shouldn't have to do
some
that.
games do it right. Some games
Yeah.
do microtransactions right. Mostly when it comes to aesthetic things.
Yes, aesthetics is fair because you're not paying to win at that point.
But with EA, it's not even about microtransactions. It's like we were talking about, just how they put so much of the game behind a paywall. Either that, or
Yes.
you spend like months, weeks, if not months of your life to earn enough in-game credits to unlock the thing that you should have had from the beginning. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. So, funny thing, side note, Apex, which I just mentioned, is in the Titanfall universe, and it's also made by Respawn, the same people that made Titanfall. So this game came out of nowhere because after it was released, that one of the developers came out and said, "Yeah, we know that everybody kind of hates EA. If we would have announced this at E3 and done a whole promotion, released tidbits, people would have hated it, and this game would have failed. So we just decided to not do that and just release the game when it was finished."
I'm surprised EA let them do that.
And then it blew the fuck up. So here's the other funny thing. Apparently, Apex was just a side project that a few developers were working on just to kill time between until their next project.
Their
was
next giant
released.
project. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just like a side project, and it's the most successful
It's
thing
smart.
of the year.
Because you release the game for free, and then you just sell those aesthetic things
Yes.
at a regular price, and people will buy them.
Oh yeah, sure.
You'll
if you
make
like
your
them
money
enough.
back that way and more.
Exactly so. Exactly, John. And that's how you do it because, again, Apex is free to download, correct?
Yes.
On any console or PC that you own
Yep.
that can play the game, you can do that, which is, again, the great way to do it. But, again, EA has had examples in the past beyond that. Like, for instance, is it Shadow of Mordor was the latest one?
Yeah.
There's two within the Mordor universe, and the second one is where there's, again, a full price game and then a shitload of microtransactions, some of which would end up helping you progress through the story itself. Otherwise, again, you have to grind endlessly almost to be able to progress through the story.
So for that game, I'm glad you brought it up because that example in particular you're very correct. You can go through the whole game without paying for any of those microtransactions.
But how easy is that to do?
Except for one part towards the end that is where you literally just have to grind, and that I feel like that part in the game exists for the sole purpose to encourage you to buy those microtransactions.
Exactly. So, I mean, there are video games where the grind, I have fun. Like, if I'm playing an RPG and I want to, grind and get my characters up to level 100 or whatever the max might be, or get them grind till I get this special item dropped from a particular enemy, I do like that. But if it's to a point to where I realize, yeah, this is just a broken ass game made by developers to get me to spend money, that's where I can't do that. And I do have mobile games where I put a little bit of money into it, maybe every month or so, and that's fine because that's my choice. But again, those are free to play unless I want to do so.
Right.
But again, if I'm paying $60 and on top of that, maybe give them another $60, if not even more, that's where I have to draw the line. That doesn't seem fair.
In my opinion, I think DLC is very necessary. Games are $60 and they've been $60 for the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Like they have not gone up with inflation. Like companies need to make their money
a good point.
in additional ways, and that's what DLC is for.
Yeah.
But when you release an unfinished game at $60 and then charge them more money on top of that to get the full game, that's where the issue is. DLC is perfectly fine in my opinion.
Yeah, nail on the head. If I love the game and I love the developers enough, then I will support that the game and the development team by buying DLC. Sometimes I don't even play the DLC, but if I care about a company or a game enough, I will do it. It's just, again, a way to show my support by giving them dollars. You know what I mean? And the end of the day, the money speaks. And if I want a sequel to a game, again, I will give more money to those teams because, again, I want more from the universe, so to speak. So I will do that from time to time as well. I do agree that back in the day when DLC was a newer thought or a newer idea, I didn't like that because I was like, why am I only getting a third of the game? But in reality, you usually do get a full game out of it, and DLC is just kind of like the icing on top or the side stories you wouldn't get otherwise.
Right.
Which again, it's usually not too detrimental to the story. Some games are like that, but again, you do usually get the full main story and campaign out of the game anyway to begin with, initially I should say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, wow, pretty video game heavy episode
I was thinking
this
the
time.
exact same thing.
I'm glad, though, because we got to put more of the gaming into this show,
Yeah.
and I appreciate that a lot.
But to steer away from
Yes,
gaming news
please.
for a second,
Yeah.
some Suicide Squad 2
Suicide,
news.
if you want.
Suicide,
What's
whatever.
up? Yeah.
They need 2 Qs in this title. That's what Suicide Squad. There we
Okay,
go.
cool. I'm down with it.
So Will Smith is officially out. He's not returning to Suicide Squad 2.
Saw that, yeah.
Too
Cool.
busy playing a blue blob.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. I mean, the first
I
one
think it
had
was
enough of
expected.
him anyway. I don't feel like I needed more Deadshot or whatever. I really didn't feel like I needed that.
I don't think he was a good Deadshot. I'll say it.
He was just Will Smith.
He was Will Smith.
He
He
was Will
wasn't
Smith.
menacing. He wasn't villainous. Like they had to give people a couple of characters at least some redeeming qualities, something that you could relate to. They did it with his child, but he just didn't feel like the Deadshot from the comics. I liked it for what it was, but it didn't do the character justice.
I agree.
Also, no trick shots. That's like his thing. He did 1 trick shot in the whole show. Deadshot's whole thing is trick shots.
That's true. And
We
you would
want more
think
trick
that Will
shots.
Smith would be
More
all about
trick
that because he's usually like I don't know, the more cocky guy sometimes in a movie and stuff like that. He's like the hotshot guy, and yeah, in that movie, he kind of wasn't. He was a little more laid back and a more emotional.
I mean, he has nothing to do with the script or anything, so.
I guess, but I'm just saying, I mean, but again, why not give Deadshot more to do? It's kind of like what they did with Deadpool.
Because that movie was all over the place. That movie
Yeah.
totally just didn't know what it wanted to be.
Right. Every time I thought I was going to have fun with that movie in theaters, I ended up being like, oh, wait, no, this isn't going the way I thought it was going to go. Great. I was like, yeah, never mind. Yeah, no, I guess not. It's like, it was kind of annoying. Like, I couldn't go on full hype with that movie when I was originally seeing it, and I've yet to watch it since that first time in theaters. So too bad, but again, I'm fine with that with Will Smith in this one. We don't need him in it. Yes. Okay. Another movie to talk about though that had a trailer recently, a second trailer, is the official new trailer for Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
What do you guys think?
I'm hype.
Yeah.
I'm still hype. It made me even more hype.
I totally agree.
I'm still very excited for this. Comes out pretty soon too, like in a month and a half, 2 months, something like that.
Yeah.
What's the date?
I don't know. I'll look that up, but I believe it's in May if I'm not mistaken.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it got me even more excited.
We're definitely
we saw
reviewing
more
this
Pokemon.
movie.
I think they still look great.
Yeah.
The world looks fun.
You get to see a few more Pokemon now that are shown off, so that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about this. May 10th this year. So I'm pretty hyped. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how hype I am for a Pokemon movie. I'm not that big of a Pokemon fan anymore.
No,
so to be
that's
this
fair.
hype about it's
Same
crazy.
here. Like I'm
Right.
I never in my life did I think I would be excited about a live action Pokemon movie.
Pikachu says hell. My girlfriend commented recently in our post of that we put on our Instagram page, just a shameless plug at STGeekPod on Instagram and Twitter. But she was just like, I can't believe Pikachu said hell or something like that, because there's a point where he's in like a cage fight with Charizard and he's like, get me the hell out of here or something like that. I just thought that was hilarious. I don't know. The action looks pretty crazy too. You get a brief look at Mewtwo. Spoilers, I guess. I did not see that coming.
Neither did I. I kind of wish they wouldn't have
shown
that.
I agree. I wonder if that's like the big reveal in the movie too. Like that's probably the first time you see him in the movie. I wonder.
Or it could, I don't know. It could just be, for all we know, it could be a cool little intro thing, like to the Pokemon world. Like, hey, we have Pokemon. There's crazy ones like this, like that. Like, it could be a quick I don't know, like montage of just seeing a bunch of Pokemon all at once.
Like there's some Pokemon that are
Before
really
it goes
peaceful.
into the main character.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And then there's some Pokemon that like to tear down the world and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, that's a good point.
Or it could be part of the main, so who the heck knows?
Yeah, I have no idea. But either way, I'm just really excited for this. The trailer looked fun. Some of the Pokemon look outright scary, though. There's the monkey Pokemon Apom. That thing looked
That looked
hideous.
menacing.
That thing's a little bit scary. And the
Even
weird part is
the gecko ones, what are they called? Greninjas?
Greninja, yeah.
They look pretty menacing. It's
Yeah.
pretty scary.
I'm pretty sure they're going to be bad guys in this one. I
seems
think
like
they're
it.
going to work for the nefarious
I'm really
team.
excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this.
It looks pretty silly. Good mix of comedy, good action. The Pokemon look pretty good. We got another funny bit with Mr. Mime in the trailer as well, which I thought was cool, even though he looks totally creepy as well.
He's always looked creepy.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
always looked fucked.
Live action or in 2D, he always looks a little weird. I don't trust him. Not at all. I believe Mr. Mime can actually, if I'm not mistaken, be female as well. So, I mean, hey, gender neutral Mr. Mime, I'm down with that.
Sure.
Why not?
2019, why not?
Yeah, exactly. I'm good. Again, Ryan Reynolds, I think he's the perfect guy for the job. I mean, there could have been others. Peter's getting attacked by a drum set.
Why do I always sit over here? Why do I always choose to sit here?
You chose your fate sitting there, sir.
Get my funny bone.
Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about? I feel like, John, I feel like you might have had one or two things.
Yeah, I just had that the Disney Fox buyout was going to be finalized in March.
Yeah, cool.
Yep, finally going to happen.
All right.
We finally get
We've talked
mutants.
about it.
We
Yeah,
got-
let's do it.
We did it, everybody. We got there.
Yeah,
It happens.
it's in the right hands now. Hopefully, we'll see. I'm still skeptical as to how Captain Marvel's going to come out. I want to be excited for it. I am kind of excited about it, but my expectations are a little bit low. I think I'm going to have a great time, and it's going to be a great new introduction to a great character that we're going to see from Europe for years to come. But again, I'm just not super wowed by the trailers
I
yet.
think at worst it'll be a good Phase 1 Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And it can only get better from there.
From there, yeah.
I feel like it might be better than Captain America: The First Avenger. Because I wasn't a big fan, and I've only seen
Neither
that
was
movie
I,
like
yeah.
once or twice. I've been wanting to rewatch it recently though, because I've heard other people say that they enjoy it a lot,
I think
and so I
so.
kind of want to rewatch it again just to see if I can maybe.
I guess when you compare it to the other ones, it's not as good, but
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it's still
It's fine.
Fine, yeah.
It wasn't Iron Man.
There's
though,
a part
for sure.
like in
Oh,
the
Iron
second,
Man, yeah.
towards the end of the second act where I think it gets boring.
Mm.
When we have the montage of him just like Captain America.
Hating his life.
No, I was talking about the one where there's a
Actually-
montage of him actually like doing shit, taking down tanks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That was
Yeah.
clearly meant to be seen in 3D.
Oh, really?
And that part kind of drags, but for the most
Okay.
part, it's fine.
Fair enough. I guess I just wasn't a big Hugo Weaving as Red Skull guy. It might have been the voice a little bit. The German accent was a little silly to me. But overall, just the aesthetic of the character just doesn't look that good. Though I did think the
I thought he
character,
looked
spoilers, I thought he looked good in Infinity War. But, I mean, maybe the cloak kind of made it look a little more, I guess, more... It just looked like it matched the face a little bit more rather than seeing a guy with a red face skull in a Nazi uniform. It just kind of looked a
That's
little weird.
exactly what the Red Skull is, though.
I know, but it just maybe in comics it plays off a little better, but in seeing it in live action, I couldn't really buy it. I couldn't take the character very seriously. I don't know. But I liked the teamwork aspect of that movie, like the squad that he has, however
Howling
many 4
Commandos,
people,
yeah.
Howling Commandos. I loved that aspect of the movie from what I remember. But again, I haven't seen that movie in like 10 years or something like that. However long it's been. Either way, pretty hype about this. I look forward to seeing some mutants eventually in the future.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it. So before we get into our main topic, unless you guys have anything else you want to bring up.
I think
Nope.
that's about it.
All right. This episode is brought to you by MUZMM.com. They pretty much take care of any like duffel bag / backpack fusions, really. Peter from the show right here actually purchased one. Again, little shining endorsement. Would you mind giving, sir?
It's good.
It's good.
Would you say it's a bag? Would you say it holds
It's a
things?
bag. I would say that it holds things.
Does it have pockets?
It has pockets.
Zippers?
Zippers.
Working
Oh,
zippers.
Very working zippers.
Nice.
I heard there's a laptop pocket
There's
in
a
there.
laptop pocket.
Okay.
It has
Nice.
straps. You put it on your back. Has a cup holder, which I believe I
Can you put
mentioned.
snacks in there?
You could put snacks in there.
You know, I am a
How many
snack
snacks
man.
we talking?
A variety of things in there. You could put your laptop, as previously mentioned.
Family
And-
size chips, or are we just going for the little small ones you,
You
buy
could
at a
put
gas
multiple
station?
family-sized chips in here.
Oh.
Going on a
okay,
picnic?
nice.
This is the bag for you.
For the random nerd that knows about the fighting game community, can you fit your fight stick in there?
Oh yeah,
Oh, nice.
Nice,
There you
nice.
go. What? Okay. Very
it's
nice.
actually a perfect fit for a fight stick. Now that I think about it,
Oh, there you go. Now you can have something for Evo as well as your normal luggage also.
it's got a lot of padding in it too. Like honestly, it's really it's safe. Your stuff will be safe in here.
Cool. All right. Well, then, just to let you guys know that are listening, if you want to save 20% off your order from MUZMM, you can go to muzmm.com/discount/STGeekPod. You can even use our discount code STGeekPod as well at checkout. That will again save you 20% off. Thank you so much, MUZMM, for sponsoring this episode of the STGeek Podcast, as per usual. Anyway, though, guys, you ready to get into it?
Oh yeah.
Umbrella Academy on Netflix, 10 episodes long, and I gotta say, I mean, even though I was kind of tired because I mainly found myself watching these after a long day of work, it didn't really bog me down. I thought this was going to be a chore. I was not looking forward to it at first, even though I kind of wanted to get into it. It's a comic series I've always wanted to read because I've been a fan of Gerard Way, the author. But I never got around to it. Saw it at comic book stands around like little shops around here. Never bought it. And I'm glad I took the time to invest into the show. But let's start with non-spoilers and go into it from there.
Okay.
Who wants to start? What would you guys say the story is? How about that?
Story. There's
7?
There's 7 kids
Out of 43.
out of 43, which they get born on a day that they weren't even in incubation.
They were-
They were just-
They were
But
just
it's so
there was just a
scientifically-
there was several ladies around the world who were not pregnant when they woke up, and then they were pregnant and gave birth in that same day.
like almost immediately.
Like,
yeah.
So that's crazy. And then this crazy entrepreneur guy, a rich entrepreneur, was able
Billionaire.
to collect 7 of them, and then they all have powers. And then he trains them up.
Or at least out of the 7, 6 of them have powers.
Correct. Out of the 7, 6 of them have powers.
Yes.
And so he trains them to be a crime-fighting team.
Yes.
Something along the lines of the Minutemen from the Watchmen, I think. Or you could X-Men, you could even say.
Good comparison. Yeah.
Children.
But children.
They're like young X-Men. Yeah.
And then time passes, and their father dies, and they come back. It's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer. It's part. Yeah. and then they all come together, and you see that they're all kind of dysfunctional, and they have problems, and they're maybe not too fond of their father, or even with each other in some cases,
Or themselves.
Yeah,
Very
that's
good
true.
point. But then then they get a person who comes from the future telling them that the world ends in a week, and then they have to band together and save the world, except most of them don't care that the world's ending.
Yeah, that's true.
And so will they save the world? Maybe they won't. We'll see.
Only spoilers will tell.
Oh yeah.
Are you ready to get into it?
Damn, that was good, by the way.
Yeah, that was a good little synopsis, quick, and just off the top of his damn head. That's not bad.
I was really into this. I really like this show.
It was cool. I gotta say, I mean, I'll get into my
spoilers, right? We can say
From here on out, it's going to be spoilers.
We haven't even talked about like anything.
Okay, sure. So we do have, again, as Peter mentioned, we do have 7 siblings. 6 of them have powers. When you spoil stuff here.
I mean, that's a spoiler there.
What'd I say?
6 of them have. We're not in spoilers. Okay, 6 of them have powers.
I saved it, guys. Did you see that? I saved it.
We're 45 minutes in. I might cut what I said there a little bit.
Please
Bleep it or something.
Okay.
Keep this reaction in, please. But like, get rid of what you actually said.
Put a quick pause.
That random sound effect you heard a second ago, that's because I said something very spoilery
And didn't
after
even
I just said
realize
no
it.
spoilers.
Immediately after.
Anyway, okay, so that's gonna be hard to edit, I think. Well, I'll work it out. Anyway,
We
so
have faith in you,
we have
AJ.
one sibling with superhuman strength. One can talk with the dead, supposedly, which is kind of cool. No one really believes that he can, but he starts to develop that, which ended up being one of my favorite characters of the
He
show.
was hands
easily.
down my favorite character.
Klaus
without a
is
doubt.
awesome. I remember his name.
Yeah.
Luther is the one with superhuman strength. We have Allison that's able to use her voice to be able to convince people to do things they wouldn't otherwise do.
She has it's like a power of suggestion.
Yes.
But it's more than that.
I suggest that you do this.
Yeah.
I suggest you pass me the ham and not let you eat it either.
It's like hypnosis, but it's guaranteed. I don't know. It's weird.
It puts him like in a
Instant-
trance, if you will. Yeah, there's that, and then we have one that turns into like Cthulhu kind of monster guy, which was pretty awesome. I remember like the way that it shows it originally, is like through like a.
You don't
I don't
see
even
it actually
know.
happen. It's through like a window, but like
And it's fogged.
a stained window.
Yes, a stained.
So you can't
thank
see
you.
through it.
I wanted to say stained glass, but that wasn't right. Yeah, thank you. A stained window, and yeah, that was pretty awesome. Well, they have one that can throw knives really well.
Yeah,
that's his power.
Yeah,
Now,
there's
Diego. His name's Diego.
Yes,
there's
yes.
some. I guess he has some sort of telekinesis, but it only works with knives because he can maneuver them in midair.
I'm sure he would be a great mother throwing
that's what it is.
chanclas at his kids if he wanted to one day, for sure. But yeah, you have Diego throwing knives. Were there any? Who am I missing? Anyone else? Is that a bit?
Number 5?
The teleporter, yeah.
Oh, number 5, of course. Yeah, who's the only one that goes by their number for
everybody else
the entire
has
show.
names. He's the only. So I thought this show did a really great job of giving each character their own arc, their
Good
own
balance.
development, their own
Yes.
screen time. Like it was really good at that.
I did not even consider that, but you're absolutely right. Agreed, for sure.
So that's a thing.
Yeah, John, what do you think?
The way the characters grew, I mean, I felt like Klaus definitely.
Yes,
I definitely felt like he grew a lot in the show.
In more ways than one.
His character development was so great. I mean, he was my favorite character.
Yeah,
too, I think.
easily.
I think in some moments it felt a bit rushed, but in the context of the show, because which we'll get into in spoilers, I think it works.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought the CGI was pretty damn good too. There wasn't a lot.
My goodness,
There was not a lot, and I'm sure that's why they were able to put a lot of money into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Again, the character of Pogo, who was like their caretaker, you could say,
he looked really good.
He's their father's assistant, and that is like some of the best CGI I've ever seen in my life. Like I've been meaning to look this up and I've yet to, but I wanted to know if they're using the same technology they did for Planet of the Apes. I don't know if they acquired the rights to use it, because it looks damn well identical, I would say. Like that character looks amazing.
There's one moment
screen.
in particular where I think the CGI didn't look very good.
Oh, with that character in particular, or
no, just in general,
okay.
which we'll get to in spoilers. But
Sure.
the rest of it was incredible.
I
I
look
thought
forward
it
to
was
hearing what
great.
you think. Okay, gotcha. But yeah, that character Pogo looked awesome. Great. Silly name for such a distinguished character, but yeah.
What do you guys think about Mary J. Blige in this?
She was cool. I mean, she was whatever.
Good question. I will say, okay, so
I like the guy.
I
like Hazel a lot.
Hazel was great.
I thought
but
he was really good.
Mary J. Blige's character Cha Cha. I mean, I have feelings about both of these characters. So with these two characters that we're talking about, they're like bounty hunters, you can say, that leap through time and space.
Hitmen, yeah.
Yeah, they're hitmen through time and
That's
space.
a spoiler.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, whatever. Sorry, you're
What
right.
do you mean, whatever? That's a spoiler.
You're right. Okay. Well, anyway, there's two characters in the show, and I will just say that I don't feel that I feel like they don't have the appearance to be as skilled and as powerful as they are. I'm just gonna say that outright.
I would say that maybe that's the case for. At first, I didn't buy them as being intimidating and whatnot. I particularly don't buy that for Mary J. Blige, but I think that's a product. It has nothing to do with her acting. I think it's more so a product of the character itself.
Okay, like that's
she doesn't I feel menacing, but I also think that that's not the point. I don't think that there's a moment early on when we first really get to see them fight, where we get to see that their fighting skill, and they're both very good.
Yes.
Cha-Cha especially, she's very acrobatic.
Oh yeah, super agile.
But even during that fight, they're both kind of just like, what's going on? Who are these people? Like what are we up against?
Yeah.
Like even though they're skilled, they're still kind of very. They're supposed to be the top of their class, if you want to say that. They're supposed to be some of one of the top hit people or whatever the hell they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But even they still feel very human. They're flawed. Which
Yeah,
I think is part of their character. I liked them.
I think I enjoyed their personality.
I just
more.
didn't buy her being menacing.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I feel like that was supposed to be a thing, but it wasn't quite there.
Right? Yeah, not quite. I think I did like some parts that she played in this show. I thought she was cool in some things, but ultimately, yeah, I didn't quite buy her as a character. But the character of Hazel, I did like a lot. Super charismatic. I just think they gave you more to like about Hazel because Cha-Cha, in my personal opinion, was just more brooding and evil the entire time.
I mean, Hazel was more three-dimensional for sure.
Yes,
and again, I think this is why I didn't like her. It was just her character because she was more of the clear cut, always do the job, like kind of character.
Yeah, she had one redeeming factor in her, which we'll get into a little later, which I did like, but then they steered away from ultimately in the end, which I didn't care for that very much. But yeah, but she did have one redeeming factor with me until she didn't for whatever reason. I didn't really understand that. So that change of heart.
So overall, I really liked the show. I thought the story did a very good job of laying as the plot is progressing. They still do a very good job of laying seeds of questions of things that they will maybe or may not allude to later that keep you intrigued throughout the entire show. I can't say what they are. I'll get to them in spoilers, but
don't be like me.
It kept me hooked from the very beginning.
Yep. From the end of the first episode to the end of every episode was a very good little kind of cliffhanger, you could say, to where
definitely.
It made you get intrigued about what's to come in the next episode. I remember every time I think I watched this show in about 2 to 3 different sittings. Yeah, 3 sittings. And every time I had to stop, I was like, crap, I don't want to. I want to keep watching, but I'm freaking exhausted because it's like 1 a.m. now or whatever, 2 a.m, whatever.
How'd you guys like the Umbrella Academy intro logo that they did in every episode?
I thought that was really creative every time.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
I think my favorite one is when they're talking and it opens up and it scares
and they're just
class.
like, what the? Yeah, and then it's there.
I
thought that was great.
Yes.
Apparently, I learned later on because I haven't read the comics either, but I learned that I guess that's something from the comics. At the intro of every comic book, they have the umbrella. There's an umbrella somewhere on the panel that says the Umbrella Academy.
That's cool.
So I thought that was cool that they adapted that and did something fun with it.
Right. They find like different ways to do it, throw it in. Yeah, super fun little charming way to get the show started. Every intro was kind of neat in and of itself anyway without the Umbrella logo. Also kind of got you ready for like, oh whoa, like this is a new aspect of the show I did not see coming. And then later on in the episode it will expand upon what you just got into essentially. If it doesn't start right off where the last episode began, it does give a little foreshadow and then you get the exposition later on.
The flashbacks.
Yes.
There were a lot of flashbacks giving you backstory that were relevant at the time. Like in that episode, these flashbacks become relevant.
And ultimately done pretty well, I would say, too.
Yes.
Like, they didn't feel like they didn't need to be there at all. I felt like they were all necessary to the plot.
You've been awfully quiet during this conversation, John. Any thoughts?
No, I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. Like I said, the character development was really good. There were some things I wasn't a big fan of, but I'll talk about that in spoilers.
There's some things for me as well.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Do you guys want to get spoilers?
Spoilers.
That's what I've been waiting for.
Let's do it.
I figured as much.
All right. What's the opening say, John?
Well, I mean, for the most part, let's just bring it up. Was Diego a great actor? The character?
No. I would say I don't want to knock the David Castaneda's the actor's name. I don't want to knock his acting ability whatsoever. I just think maybe
I don't feel like
they didn't give him as much depth.
Yeah.
So John, okay, I'm sure we've mentioned this in the past. John and I actually went to high school with the guy. We knew him at one point, and I feel like that's the reason why there were some moments where I just couldn't buy it because of that.
Because
it's through no fault of his own. I think it was mostly just me not being. I'm just like, for the most part, I was able to look past that, but there were some moments where I'm just like, oh, that's right, I knew. Oh yeah,
yeah. I was like, I said it out loud a couple of times. I was like, wow, I went to high school with this guy. And he had a lot of scene time. I feel like
he did.
Oh,
a
lot of scene time.
That's great
compared to I'm happy from 100%.
It got renewed for a season 2 by the way. I don't know
Yes.
if you guys heard
This
about
did?
that. Yes.
I'm so happy about that.
Me too.
Thank goodness.
And there's something you told me in person or the other day, yesterday, where it was like they sprinkle in a little bit of tidbits to kind of keep you in. I have questions that are definitely not answered.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, 100%.
Okay. Well, go ahead. What's up?
Well, since we're in spoilers,
Yeah. Let's go for it.
one of those things that I feel like we're gonna get to. So I think the show, because at the very end, again, we're in spoilers.
Real quick, if I may, if you have not watched the show or finished it yet, go watch it and then come back and finish this episode with
Yes.
us. Go on, Peter. Sorry.
Okay, so at the very end, they do a time jump because the world ended. They didn't
Yes.
stop the world. They didn't save the world from being ended.
They did not.
And they do a time jump. One of the lingering questions we have is, how did Reginald know that the world was going to end?
Yes.
So it feels like they're going to go. They're time jumping back in time, and perhaps they're the ones that lay the seed in Reginald and let him know that the world ends, and that's what starts the whole thing in the process.
It could be, yeah. I'm wondering because
that's
as they
great.
were time jumping in the midst of that, they started off at their adults form, and then they all kind of
Reverted back,
they reverted back to their young ways when they're like in their young teens, like 13
I don't know
or
if they're
whatever.
going to stay that way though. I don't know if that
You
was
thought
just
it was
like
just
a
a nod and a
stylized.
wink?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
we don't know
so.
if that's going to be the case.
I don't see it being the case. Maybe they might do like maybe one episode. Maybe
David's out of a job if that's the case.
Oh God, no! I think that this cast was strong enough that they're definitely going to keep around.
I
without a
really
doubt.
enjoyed the kid.
Yeah.
I thought he was great.
I didn't like him at first, but he grew on me very fast.
Very within the episode that they introduced, like fully introduced. Maybe by the second episode, I was all about number 5. Good charisma. He kept up with the adults very much so. In some ways, he was, rivaling them, if not bettering their skill.
I think he had the most to do.
Yeah.
He kind of is the one that is progressing the main plot.
Yeah,
throughout the
we
whole
know
thing.
what's going on because of number 5.
Yes.
Essentially, number 5, as you guys have seen the episode already, he's talking about a doomsday that he's experienced and lived, 40 years of his life in? Something. He's
Yeah.
like in his 50s, within, like, intellectually, but when he comes back into time, he reverts back to a child, which, again, is what's happening at the very end of the show. So, again, it makes me wonder, how long are they going to stay kids within the second season? Is it just going to be, like, a half an episode thing?
Or if they're even kids at all. Like I said,
Yeah.
it could have just been like a stylized choice to be like, hey, let's show them as kids. Why not?
Yeah, it was kind
Because
of
they
neat to
banded
see.
together when at the very end.
Kind of
'Cause
like
they're very
they did.
dysfunctional throughout the entire show.
Right, but weren't once upon it. Well, actually, even as kids, they kind of showed a lot of dysfunction as well. Like, they kind of, did not care much for number 7, which is Ellen Page's character. Like, that, I felt like that was kind of sad. It's essentially how, she's numbed throughout her whole life.
They didn't dislike her, I don't think, like the other members of the family, but they were just kind of... She was left out because she had no powers.
Yeah.
And it's not like they hated her or anything, but she just kind of... She didn't really have a place there.
True.
Even when they tried to include her, she was still kind of alienated at the same time.
Yeah, because she couldn't, or so she thought, she couldn't keep up with them or be able to compete at their level, you know what I mean?
Right.
Which I thought was cool, but I loved the revealing of her powers, though I gotta say, the last episode when it showed her using her powers, I wasn't that impressed
That's
with the
what I was
violin.
gonna say.
The violin
Yeah,
scene
that
was
was
not
pretty
that much for me.
retarded. Yeah.
I liked the idea of, them rushing to her, but then when she grabbed them, I almost thought, she kind of has, a more ethereal version of number 6's power. I think, is number 6, the one that has the tentacles and all? I was like,
that's
she kind of...
Ben.
What's that?
That's Ben.
Ben,
What
yeah, okay,
number is
Ben, thank you.
I don't know.
I
I
don't
knew their
either.
names.
But
I
yes,
learned all their names, AJ.
I'm glad he did. Well, for Ben, then, she kind of grabbed them, but more ethereally rather than with tentacles, you could say. So I thought that was it's kind of like the same power again.
And it was
but
like
I don't
sucking
know.
their life somehow. 'cause
Yeah,
they
it
were,
was draining
being
them.
Yeah, you can
hurt.
see the fate.
I kind
Yeah.
of like that. That was cool. It was a
thought that-
different
I thought it was
aspect.
cool.
So what exactly is her powers?
She wields sound and is able to use it through her, and she uses it as a force, I guess.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. Like, as long as she concentrates on one
On a
particular
single
sound, then she's able to wield the energy around her, which is kind of weird. Again, it doesn't full on use it, but I feel like it could be more telekinetic than anything.
Yeah.
If you almost like a Jean Grey, if you will.
I mean,
That's what I picked up.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
that's
a bit
that. I
there.
got Phoenix vibes.
And
from it as
Bringer of
well.
the Apocalypse as well. It
Yeah.
kind of screams Dark Phoenix, if you will. But I I like number 7 as a character a lot, though. I thought she was pretty cool. What's her name as a character? Vanya?
Vanya, yes.
Vanya, yeah. I liked her throughout then. It's just that final scene playing the violin I was not the most hyped for. I thought they could have ended that a little better. I love the cliffhanger, though.
I thought it was a bit... I don't know. Again, it kind of felt a bit rushed because in 2 episodes, she went from not knowing she has powers to being this world ender kind of character, which makes sense. They explain why that is, but it just felt rushed.
Sure.
I don't say this very often, especially for Netflix TV shows, but I feel like it could have benefited from maybe an episode or 2 more.
Sure, yeah. It would have been the grind to make this episode happen a little harder on me, and I guess on John as well.
Your own fault.
I mean,
no
hey,
one to blame but yourself.
I feel you. I'm just saying. But even still, no, I do agree that, yeah, it could have benefited from maybe another episode or 2 just to kind of get things a little more ironed out rather than rush, and let's get to the cliffhanger at the end, which, again, I liked the cliffhanger, though. Did they make it back in time, or are they all going to die in the apocalypse? I doubt that's going to be what's going to happen, but even still, I had fun with the cliffhanger, and I was like, oh, like I like exclaimed out loud when the ending happened. I was like, holy crap, like this was actually a pretty fun ending to the show. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with season 2. Although in the back of my mind, I was wondering, is this going to be another cliffhanger that doesn't get resolved because it doesn't get funded for a season 2 either?
No, but it's definitely
getting a season 2.
Sure.
I'm so hype about that then.
How'd you guys? I loved the music in this, by the way. I thought
the way it like that fun,
exactly
fun and
Suicide
eerie.
Squad done right.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
I will say there were some scenes that I feel like didn't need to happen that particularly had music along with it, like the opening dancing scene for the first episode. I was like, okay, this is fun, but does it need to happen? No.
And then it like zooms out, and then you see
them all dancing like the Brady Bunch or something.
But they're alone,
right? And they're all kind of.
I thought it was fine.
It was okay. It was cool. I watched the first 2 episodes over again with my girlfriend, and that was really fun to do. It kind of reminded me of certain things. I was like, oh crap, they foreshadowed things way early on.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. I don't remember that, but now I do remember that because I'm watching it again.
Really?
It was kind of fun to do. Yeah, I would recommend going back through again if you haven't.
Like I think the big giveaway with I forgot her name again, Ellen Page's character, Vanya, was when the father was watching them sleep, and then they showed hers, and then
beeping.
and then it showed like her
brain activity.
Yeah, no, herself was like glowing white.
Oh, was she? Oh, I didn't notice that.
So right there, I was like, oh, she's probably gonna be.
Oh, really? I did not even. It went right over.
I was
my head
able
the
to
first
figure
time.
out that it was her pretty early on, just how the story was structured. I was like, she has no powers, and they're focused like she's gonna have powers.
Yeah. Right. I was wondering, like,
about halfway through, I'm like, she's the apocalypse bringer. Like I figured it out. Okay. But still, it's still how we get there. They do a very good, like the eyeball that number 5 brings back, and how we find out it's the Harold Jenkins. Yeah,
Harold Jenkins.
Like that whole plot thread that they bring to the
Leonard
table.
Peabody. Yeah.
The mystery that's surrounding Hazel and Cha-Cha,
The corporation?
The commission?
I did not see that coming. I was like,
wait,
there's time travel beyond number 5?
I thought that was... It almost lost me at that point. When they started introducing this time-traveling agency...
It was an aspect I didn't need. But I liked it in the end.
But it worked. They made it work. Because when you incorporate time travel into any story, it pretty much ruins all logic. It throws all logic out the window.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they did a very good job of making it at least appear believable.
Yes.
They had that whole episode where it was like an episode and then it rewind towards the end.
I thought that was great.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. It showed you what could have been if he would have stayed in the future.
Yeah.
Well, she would have ended up blowing everything up anyway, huh? Because remember, she found his
inevitable.
Yeah, he said it himself. I forgot about that.
And the commission is making sure that the apocalypse happens no matter
regardless.
what. Yeah, which is kind of weird though, because it's like if the apocalypse happens, how is it our commission in the end? Like, are they from present day or are they from the future? And if they're from the future, how are they able to prevent the apocalypse? I guess we'll see that in season 2.
I'm gonna Wikipedia
possibly.
The way I understood it is that they're almost like it's almost like a pocket dimension. Like they don't exist anywhere on the timeline. They're just kind of watchers of the timeline.
Interesting.
That's the way I saw it.
So they don't exist on Earth necessarily.
Exactly.
Or at least Earth as we know it. Maybe in a, like you said, altered dimension. Who knows?
Correct.
Okay.
My biggest question was, why did they wait 30-40 years or whatever to like recruit 5?
That's true. I guess maybe because they saw how his skills developed, but obviously he had skills because that's how he got to the future in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
My guess would be that he's an outsider. Like you said, they're in a pocket dimension with their own people and everything, and maybe she was just observing them and thought he was great. because like why would they pick Hazel and
Cha-Cha.
besides the fact that they're well trained? I mean, why would they get picked to do that? Were they just born at the right time?
Right.
I guess so. Or it seems like they pick people out of time, but they seemed like they were from the present day as well. Like the way they looked, the way they conducted themselves, the language they use. It wasn't old timey. It didn't seem futuristic.
Though.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting to see.
Yeah.
That is a good observation there.
Yeah.
Interesting how that all works. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I mean. Like it's there's a lot of questions, but which would normally kill it for me in another show. But the way they progress it and the way they explain things, it doesn't really bother me that we don't have those. I don't think we need those answers. You get into like Star Wars prequel territory where you start talking about politics and like you start over explaining things.
Right.
Like it's good to leave an air of mystery.
Number 5 was a Sith all along. I don't know. Yeah, stuff like
Jar Jar
that.
Binks.
No, I'm just saying.
Is he supposed to be very smart too? That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah.
He
right?
seems like it.
Well,
and
he's
very
doing
cocky.
equations and he's talking about equations. And
He obviously must be. I mean, that's probably how we learned to time travel.
And he's also a
to a degree
little
anyway.
crazy. I like how they they play with that because he's really into Dolores, the mannequin.
Yes.
Like really.
That's great, yeah.
Well, I think that was obviously due to him being alone for
so
how
many
many
years.
like
Castaway.
30 years.
But here's the thing.
Castaway don't right?
They show
Yeah.
you. He finds that mannequin almost immediately. It seems like he's still a kid because we flash forward to one of the things to where after the apocalypse, and he finds her almost immediately, and it calls her Dolores.
That's true. Yeah, I guess he is just
Like
kind of off.
maybe he had the foresight to know that he needed something to latch onto for his own sanity.
The companion, yeah.
Yeah,
Since
so
he is smart.
Yeah.
So probably he knew
so
that.
I guess you can argue that that's the case.
Yeah, maybe. That might be giving him a little too much credit, but I will go with that. I feel you on that one for sure. So again, what did you guys think of each character? Let's start with Luther, the quote-unquote leader of the
So
group.
I thought everybody's story progressed very well.
Yep.
His arc is pretty damn good. I love how, like we talked about a moment ago, the time jump that we do backwards, like how we get to see him discover that he was sent to the moon for no reason and how it affects him, and how in that timeline he ends up going with becoming Allison and like confessing his love for her.
Yes.
But then when we come back, he actually ends up with Klaus, and we see him kind of spiral downward. He kind of goes into
very
a bit
much
of a
so.
depression, and how he recovers from that. Like his character arc was fantastic.
I liked him a lot.
Yeah,
Luther.
I thought his acting was pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I would say.
I believe in the
one,
comic books that I haven't read, but I do know. I believe in the comic books he actually gets his head put on a monkey body.
Oh,
Yes,
shit.
I-
And, but in this it's a serum.
Yeah.
Which I think is
Saves his
more
life.
believable.
Yeah.
I hesitate to say realistic, but believable. I think
Right,
is a
like
good word.
chimpanzee serum. I don't know how believable that is either, but yeah, at least it has to do with, I guess so. Rather than transplanting a head, you could say. I will say this though. I think he had to grow on me. At first, I didn't understand why is this guy in a big old puffy jacket. It looks like they're just padding him to make him look buff, and then you get that reveal where his sleeve gets cut open in the first episode.
He's kind of like
You
really
see little
hairy.
hair
You see all
come
the
out,
hair
like
sticking out.
almost not in a realistic way.
yeah. I was
see-
like, what's going on here with this guy? Like,
and you
it
see
didn't
him
make
like as
sense.
soon as it gets cut, like he
He
stops
covers
him
it
completely.
immediately.
Like he's kind of yeah.
He stops fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when he and Diego get in that little sprawl.
That was fun, by the way. That was like episode 1.
Yeah, it was during the funeral. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was cool, and I didn't really understand him. And then finally it gets revealed that he's like half ape or whatever.
Well,
to,
I think
to
that's
save his
it's
life.
intentional. There's supposed to be an air of mystery because everybody comments on how big he's gotten.
Yeah,
and there's supposed to
exactly.
be an air of mystery to why that is.
Why he's like that.
Mm-hmm. I guess it took me a while. I almost wish, though, at least for his arc in particular, I almost wish they would have kept the ending that they were going with without the time jump back in time, because I kind of liked the direction things were going. I don't know if I cared for the dance number that much between he and
I
Allison.
thought that was fun.
But it was fun. But I mean, and I just liked what it meant in that, yeah, they're finally together. They confess each other's love for one another and all that. That was great. And then,
But we need conflict, AJ.
I guess
We need
I thought the
conflict.
conflict was going to be them going to fight Vanya and save the world and all that, or save Vanya, etc. But it ended up being different altogether, which is fine too. I will say I almost didn't agree with the time jump back, just a little
I
bit.
thought it was a great way to, like John said, show you what could have been.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
And then the audience having that knowledge of where everything's could have went and then seeing how it plays out instead is very powerful.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you're supposed to, you're supposed to feel
It's
that
like
way.
a butterfly effect episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Like you're supposed to feel that way. You're supposed to be like, oh fuck, like they could have confessed their love. They could have been happy that we're gonna run away together. Like they finally did it. But then you see what actually happened.
She would have had a voice.
You're supposed to be like, fuck, exactly. You're supposed to be like, oh shit, like this could have played out totally differently, and you get to see the way it could have played out differently. I thought it was a brilliant storytelling mechanic,
Okay, fair enough.
done very well.
One thing I will say that I think, at least with the new timeline that they're working with now, with the time jump backwards, I'm looking forward to season 2 to seeing how Allison copes with potentially not having. I haven't read the comics, but if she doesn't have that power anymore, how she's going to cope with that, and how
even
she's going to. She's a pretty good fighter. I'll give her that. But without her power, is she going to become like the new number 7 in that regard? Is she going to become Vanya in
Ordinary.
that now? Yeah, almost ordinary. Like, yeah, she has the fighting skills, but will she regain her voice? If she does, great. Or will she have that conflict within herself throughout the whole next season? I wonder. Kind of cool. I don't know.
I wondered when it happened, which totally caught me by surprise, by the way.
Yeah, that was insane.
I felt that like really bad. I was just like, holy shit. Like,
when Vanya like slices her throat.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
I saw
That was
that.
pretty wild. Hey, Dad. Thanks, Dad. Okay, moving on. Pardon me.
we should keep that in.
Oh, for sure. Okay.
100%. It got all quiet.
We had Papa
We all got
Podcast
quiet.
walking on us,
We
recording
waited
for no
the
reason
door
at all.
to open.
Yeah, we heard squeak.
We had the podcasting god look down upon us.
I think so, something like that. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so we talked about Luther a little bit. If you guys don't mind, I kind of just wanted to break down your thoughts a little bit. We don't have to go in deep, but I mean, like, and maybe not every character, but what did you guys like about Klaus? Like, what? Since he seems to be our universal favorite character, what did you
He
guys
was
like
the
about
most
him?
animated.
Yeah,
I think,
for sure.
To begin that really pulled me in immediately. You get to see him just kind of be wacky and wild and very dark. He has a very He's a drug addict, and you understand 100% immediately why you feel sympathy for him immediately because his these powers that he's had, his father being so fucked up and being to all of them, and you like him even more as his arc progresses, as he grows as a person. The when he gets the briefcase and you find out that he was in World War II and that he loved somebody.
That's what my opinion for him really changed. That's when I was like, okay, I really like how he went from being pathetic and a drug addict to he just came back from war and now he's more sympathetic.
Yeah. It was really
It
good.
was great. Yeah.
He's not just a goofball the entire time anymore. Like, he still has his very good comedy beats throughout the rest of the season, but it gives a little more depth to him again. He's more three-dimensional because, yeah, he was depressed and he's drugged up to try to numb himself and to numb his power ability as well.
Because it drives him crazy.
Exactly.
Like
And it's sad,
being high numbs his power, so he's not constantly
He would rather be
hearing
high
people.
than hear the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fair because, again, he was
Except
tortured
for
as
Ben.
a kid.
Ben seems to be the exception, which I guess because
They
it
were
was
siblings.
It's
Exactly.
his brother. He's just attached to him.
Yeah, and he doesn't scare him either. Like, he
Which-
looks like
I
himself.
thought that was
still.
great.
And I love that
Yeah,
aspect.
that
of
was
it.
fun.
I love that
Yeah.
even though he had died, he's still kind of there with nobody. Klaus is the only one that that sees him or even knows that he's there. Like none of the other characters know that Ben's around,
Until, like, the last episode, essentially. Yeah, which was cool.
which was a very cool reveal. I thought
Of his like leveled up power, I guess you can say, where he's actually able to like have the dead have effect on the real world,
or even
itself,
the fact that
on
the other
living.
members of the academy get to see him and be like, oh shit, Klaus isn't full of shit.
Yeah,
Like, he's-
exactly. He did talk to Dad, and he talked to God for a moment, I think, as well.
That was pretty fun.
That was-
I thought that was great.
Right, a little girl riding a bike or something like that. Was that what
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
was doing?
that's what it was. Yeah.
I love that
the
shaving scene.
attitude.
God's a
too.
little shit talker.
Yeah,
I,
I mean,
thought it was great.
God was being he was being, or she was being real. It was cool. I love the shaving scene with Klaus and the dad as well. I loved that aspect as well. That was a fun
Oh, we
little
didn't
scene.
get he was going to tell him something important.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and he never got to.
is that not resolved at all?
Nope.
So we
we still don't know.
season 2. I need to rewatch the last few episodes just to get a little reminder on that. You're right. Thank you for remembering that. But yeah, ultimately like that.
I love the part where Klaus was getting tortured by Hazel and Cha-Cha, and they're choking him, and he's like harder. I'm almost there. Yeah, get. And then they see that he has an erection.
Is
and
it
they're
hard for him to die?
just- what do you mean? How do you figure?
They did torture him a lot.
Because it feels like he's always trying to kill himself by drowning himself and him being tortured for hours.
When did he try to drown himself?
There's a scene when he's in the bathtub under the water.
I don't think he was trying to drown himself.
I think he was trying to relax.
Yeah.
And numb the
he was
sound.
seeing the dead.
Yeah.
I think he was just trying to relax. Yeah, that's
okay.
all. No, good point though. But yeah, I mean, he was holding his breath, but obviously that's what you do underwater.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that's a good point. But I think he was just trying to escape his demons, but they ultimately end up coming out anyway.
He was a nihilist. Like he was just kind of like waiting for death, if anything.
Right.
Like he didn't necessarily have a death wish, but he just had such little care about life that he would
And he was
welcome
always
it.
high, I'm sure.
Exactly. I'm sure that helped.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, yeah,
if
numbs
helped
you.
is the right word.
Yeah. Oh God, I know, right? It sped along the process of dying. How about
Yeah.
that? Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I liked Vanya a lot. I know we talked about her a little bit earlier, but just the whole her journey as far as feeling her whole entire life that she's ordinary. She has these 6 other siblings that are spectacular. They have abilities. They can go out and have fun. They can train, and she's kind of left to not believe in anything other than what her dad tells her, which is kind of depressing. And then you slowly start to actually understand that no, she's more powerful than any of them combined, which was pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's really sad to see how things played out too with her. Like in the second to last episode, I believe, when they actually lock her up, or Luther locks her up.
Yeah.
And the rest of them are just like, this is fucked up. She's our sister. Like, what the hell are we doing?
Right.
And even Allison, even after having her throat cut by her, is still like, no, we need to help her. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
And it's so adamant. I don't know about you guys, but as I agreed. I was like, you this is only gonna make it worse.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, she needs help. Like, you're the people
And she
that
wanted
she
help.
should help.
She went in wanting help.
Yes.
Right. And then Luther just strangles her and throws her in a cage, essentially. Which was, again, he dealt with it the best way.
For a second, I thought he was going to kill her.
I thought that's what he was doing.
I thought he was trying to crush her bones, not pass her out. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, like, oh shit. And I thought she was going to, like, throw him off her. Or, yeah. Eyeballs pop. No. But, no, it was pretty rough to watch. I even, like you said, Peter, I liked how Allison was saying, like, no, the argument we had that caused my throat to get sliced was my fault. You know, like, she was willing to at least try to help her rather than just cage her and not forget about her, but kind of just, like, deal with it when they get around to it. I thought that was kind of not the best way to handle it, which goes to show, which is why she went on a freaking psychopath rage. But there was a lot of murder in here that I felt like maybe didn't need to happen.
How so?
Something's coming to mind. Who was it that Allison killed near the end of the show? Did she kill? Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was Vanya that killed her boyfriend. I felt like she didn't need to kill him.
Why not?
Because, I mean, he was a bad guy, but he didn't. I mean, he did kill someone, but why lower yourself to that level to kill him?
She can't. It's like Phoenix. She can't control her power.
I get that is exactly true. She goes into a rage, I guess. I just felt like okay, that's a fair argument in that she loses kind of any level of conscientious nature.
Look at where that character, the character of Vanya, had gone through so far.
Yeah,
like she discovered that she had powers. That her. Well, I don't think at this point she knew.
She didn't know that she was being lied to. I guess.
She found the Reginald's handbook, and she found out that this one person who she was growing attached to, who was helping her discover her powers, who actually cared about her, thought that she was special, was lying to her and using her from the very beginning.
She was already warned, though. She didn't want to believe it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then that even adds to it that Allison was telling the truth, and that after having slit her throat, like, it was for nothing, like she was being genuine. So of course she would. Like, it made sense to me entirely that she would kill him.
Maybe just me as a person. I don't think I would do that. I would just, I don't know, lock up the guy, beat him up, and then send him to the police. I don't know.
You're boring.
Let them deal with it. I'm just saying.
Kill a guy once in a while.
I know. Hey, well, come on.
Murder is
Live
okay
a
in TV shows.
In TV shows. I guess so, right? I guess so. It just didn't seem like the right thing to do, I suppose. I don't know. That's just me. But either way, I did enjoy the show, though, for sure. I love the characters. I thought, even though maybe Diego's character didn't get that much depth, I still enjoyed him as a character. I thought it was cool. Maybe the weaker of all the powers, but I did like that he could, like, curve the knives around corners and kill people that way. I thought that was kind of neat.
I like that Klaus constantly makes fun of him for being so brooding.
Yes, right. I'll leave you to brood or whatever. So, yeah. But I liked how they kind of teamed up. They seemed like two siblings that were always kind of hanging out together.
Yeah,
always ask Diego
was reluctantly hanging out with Klaus. Klaus was always just kind of tagging along.
And Buggy number 5 often too. Like, he was kind of like riding them the most.
How do you like the part where he pretended to be his dad? I thought that was great.
Oh, that. When they go to the prosthetic building. Yeah, that was.
He hits the kid.
Slaps him.
Oh, just smacks him across the face.
I'm like, what the fuck is your problem?
Smashes the snow globe into his own head as well. It's like, oh, that hurt. And then, like, grabs the doctor. Yeah, that was That was Klaus being Klaus, and
That's what I mean. Like
yeah.
his character is just so likable, even though he's so dysfunctional, probably more so than everybody else.
Yeah. You just get the most laughs out of him, but also you get a bit of depth in that. Again, not only is he happy-go-lucky as so he seems, he has a lot of darkness and sadness within him as well, which is why he's so happy-go-lucky, because he's numbing himself from all that, I guess you could say. But yeah, I like that. I had another thing I wanted to mention. Diego, I just want to touch on that for a moment. I didn't really care for the girlfriend dying because I feel like it didn't really affect things that much. Like he kept wanting to avenge her, but I feel like it didn't really happen, nor did he super need to either.
I wonder if this is for a reason that we're going to get in season 2, but they give you hints and tidbits as to what their relationship was, but they don't really go into detail. Like, I feel like if it was romantic in nature, they could have just outright said it. Excuse me. But they don't. So that makes me wonder if there was something else to it.
I want to say it was probably just a romantic relationship
that
just went wrong.
But that's what. But why not just say that? Why leave this air of mystery to it?
Yeah, that's fair.
Bad
that's
writing.
Fair. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe they just rushed through that and didn't care about it that much.
I mean, it's just one line. Is that really like? I feel like they did it for a reason.
Well, I mean, I mean, he was super flirtatious with her, like, oh, you used to like this about me, you used to like that about me, and all that. So I feel like that does kind of give the hint that they were together once upon a time.
To think you and her
once, but they never really say. That's what I mean.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe they're just skirting around the word sex because they're.
Why would they? There's already violence. One of the best.
He's a vigilante.
One of the best scenes in the movie was like that rated R Nightcrawler scene when number 5 takes out the people in the donut place.
That was actually pretty
great.
Cool. Yeah, I liked that. Yeah, ultimately didn't care for that. What was Officer's name? Patch. Yeah,
I believe. Oh, that's what he called her. I don't think that's what her name was.
Oh, okay. Either way, I didn't. I mean, it was kind of shocking when she was murdered, but I was like, okay. I guess that's done. And I liked his acting in that scene when he had that loss. I was like, oh wow, that's actually pretty cool.
That was pretty good.
That was like the most depth we get from the character, other than just being like the cool guy that throws knives around. Again, I think that he was a pretty good actor. I like David's work, but ultimately, I guess I just didn't care for the character that much. But I look forward to seeing more from him in season 2, though, for sure.
I think he had an arc. Mm-hmm. I will agree they didn't give him too many scenes to really display any more emotion than brooding.
Yeah, that's true.
There's that scene that you just mentioned. There's the scene where he has to shut off Mom. Mm-hmm. And then at the very end when he chooses not to kill Cha-Cha. Those are the only 3 times I think we see him in not being so brooding.
That's true. Yeah. And I didn't care for the not killing Cha-Cha part. I did like the mom part, though. I liked that part a lot. When he shuts her down, I didn't fully understand that he was killing her.
I felt that for a second. Like I was just like, oh shit, this.
What was going on?
He was pulling the plug, essentially.
I know he killed her, but was she sewing some of her arm into that thing?
Yeah,
she was because she was crazy. What was going on?
She didn't mean to. I think that.
So my girlfriend asked me the same question. She was confused. So the conversation they had prior was whether or not they should shut off Mom because is her programming faulty? Is something wrong with her? And then I think when he sees her doing that, that's when he realizes, and also not even realizing that there was a fight happening. That's when he realizes, oh, there is something wrong with her, and so he shuts her down himself.
Yeah. Was it that her system was just like kind of decaying over time?
Well, we find out later that it was Reginald shut off her thing intentionally because he killed him, something like that.
To not have like that ability to care for anyone anymore, or at least to like medically and everything like that. Like she was then programmed to not help in that regard. Yeah. I guess that's a good point. Yeah, that's fair. And so, but then when seeing that, he was like, oh, wow, yeah, she's broken now. She's not the same mom she used to be, even though she still cared about them and was nice and sweet and all. But yeah, I actually like the introduction of that character into the universe where number 7 Vanya has all these different caretakers and she throws them all out a window or throws them down a hall. And then finally he creates someone that's able to handle any abuse that she throws at her.
It freaks her out, I think is what it does. Yeah. Like she sees her walking towards her with her head on backwards and she's like, oh, I'll eat my oatmeal. All right.
My bad. This lady's more my speed. Yep. Yeah. I did like that a lot. I thought Mom was a pretty likable character. I thought she was cool. Not that much to love about her, but I mean, she was funny. She was sweet. She had her comedic moments.
I think you grow a connection to her through the characters, especially Diego. I feel he's the one that has the closest connection to her.
Yes, you do see that a lot, and that she kind of helped him through his speech impediments throughout the years, and kind of just gave him confidence in life. And I like that about that, and that you could see where the bond really was. But you could tell that they all definitely cared about her. Like I think near the end of the second to last episode or so, or maybe the last one, Luther's like, "Go get Mom," and ultimately no one ever gets mom. She still dies in the
Speaking of which,
in the
that
burning.
scene where she dies and the building's coming down is the CGI that I thought looked like shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
don't think it looked good.
I agree with that.
Everything else was fantastic. Even the moon blowing up and crashing towards Earth and whatnot looked incredible. But that scene in particular, the CGI was very, very weird. Yeah,
I'll go with that. But luckily, it's a very quick scene. Like, it's like 2 seconds and then it's done. Not a big deal. But yeah, I'll agree with you on that though. Like the moon exploding looked pretty good. I was shocked when I was watching. I was like, dude, they really did a good job with the CG for the vast majority
or even how she
of the
shot
show.
the beam at it, and then you saw like the hole into the moon, and then it started to.
It was like
it's like
embering
when
and burning.
Frieza threw the ball in ceramic.
Exactly. Or at freaking Planet Vegeta, etc. Vanya's Frieza in this universe. I like it. But ultimately, though, great show. Since Netflix shows occasionally, like Stranger Things, do go on home video, like Blu-ray and DVDs and such like that, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. We can talk more about the show, but I gotta ask: is it gonna be skip it, stream it, or buy it? Like you will actually own this
Stream it.
in your collection, you could say. Is it worth supporting the show more by buying the product? Would you go that far?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I think I liked it that much.
It might be a part of your librry.
Yeah,
for sure. It's a heavy, like, definitely watch this show
Most
if you're on
things,
the fence.
If I haven't said it before, I feel like a lot of people are like this these days because movies are so easily available through streaming platforms, Redbox. Like you don't really need to buy movies anymore.
Right. Yeah,
However, me personally, there are some things that I just am such a big fan of that I want to own physically.
Yes.
And I think this series, assuming that it continues to be good, or at least enjoyable for me, is going to be one of those things that I want to own. So yes, I would certainly buy it.
Wow, there you go, for sure. Yeah, I would say a maybe buy from me as well. It's pretty. Really? It was pretty good. I think, and it could just be this from me, is that I'm not the biggest like binge watcher at all. I don't watch that many Netflix series. I watched Stranger Things 1 and 2, and I watched this. I don't really watch anything else from start to finish that often, but being that it was bite-sized in 10 episodes, that was nice and digestible. It gave me enough story. It gave me enough to care about. Luckily, the writing was pretty darn good, I would say. And so, yeah, I'd say this show was good. It was a series I'm happy that I spent time watching. It was worth every minute.
Right.
I think it's a nice refresher to
For sure.
superheroes.
Yeah.
It's a nice spin on like X-Men, I guess you can say it if you're a fan of the X-Men. But I'm still on the stream.
It has tones of X-Men and tones of Watchmen, but it takes it in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
It's very much its own thing.
It's very like lighthearted and yet dark, almost Tim Burton-esque, but done better. I would say.
I think, John, you said it best earlier, where it's like Suicide Squad done right. Like it's dark but fun at the same time
because they're dysfunctional.
Yeah,
but they still have to figure out how to work with each other.
Right,
it's good.
One thing I will say about this show, again, this just could be my opinion. I feel like we didn't get that many powers throughout the series. I feel like maybe the first episode and then the last 3, maybe you start really seeing a significant amount of powers being used.
You kind of see tidbits here and there, yeah.
A little bit, but I was just kind of surprised. Like, I'm like, oh, this is a superhero kind of show. Like, what's going on? Where's the super part about it?
That's what I liked about it. It was really more so about them, their struggles, their journeys, their relationships, more so than the fact that they have powers.
True. I guess there were multiple scenes where powers could have been used and they really weren't. And even like, for instance, the character of Luther, who's supposed to have like superhuman strength and throw people through windows and through feet away, he was an even match against
that was
Hazel.
Like
I was like, what? Like Hazel kicked his ass in the opening scene where they fought anyway. Like he lost that fight.
There's a couple. The show's not perfect. As much as I think we all enjoyed it, it's certainly flawed, as all things are. And I know exactly what you're talking about because there's 2 instances where I thought, why not just do this? Because you have this power.
Yeah.
When number 5 is first encountering Hazel and Cha-Cha in the department store, you could literally just get out of there. Just teleport out of there.
You saw him like squeeze his grips.
He did that later on. He kind of ran and teleported away like around the department store for a while, and then he tried to do it, and then I guess he like ran out of juice or whatever.
Yeah, his ability
kind of just implied.
Yeah.
So why not just do it sooner?
Right? Why not just skip all that and not have to worry about not being able to teleport away?
And then when Allison got her throat cut, as emotional it was, I'm like, this is a show where time travel exists. Like, why not just stop that from happening?
Right. I mean, he does say he's not able to totally control it. I think that's what number 5 says.
Maybe it's the fear of turning younger, because he even said at the end, there's a chance.
We've only seen him time jump twice in the show, and that's when, or I guess maybe in the montage where he gets to the future, a couple of times, but he does it, And then the only other time we see him do it after that is when he comes back. Other than that, he uses the suitcase. I think because he can't control it, he's afraid to give it another try.
Yes.
But then, did he destroy the suitcase after he came back?
It was Klaus that destroyed it.
Yeah, remember he slammed it?
No. After number 5 came back.
Oh, I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
I don't remember either because when Allison got her throat cut, I'm like, why not just? I mean, you can time travel, sort of.
Right.
So why not just fix that?
That's a good point.
So there's some plot issues.
Yeah,
but the
there
way
are.
it's the fact that you guys didn't even think about it shows just how good the pacing is.
yeah,
Like you don't
yeah.
even think about these things because it's paced so well.
Again, yeah, as imperfect
With the exception
as
of
the show
maybe
is,
the last episode where it feels a bit rushed.
It was a bit rushed, and I just didn't care for how her powers looked at the end. Vanya, that is. I was looking for more. I wanted more of the same that they were showing in the beginning when she starts realizing how to use her powers. I love that explosion of rain that happens
that
when
was
those
great.
guys are beating up her boyfriend.
field?
Yeah, that was awesome looking. And I liked when she was in the woods and she was kind of controlling the wind and the trees and blowing around. I loved that. But then the final product of it, I was just like, I don't care if I care for blue glowy Ellen Page. I don't know if I need that. But ultimately, though, I thought it was a cool cliffhanger to the ending. Story throughout was great. The character development, the even amount, or at least I thought even amount of screen time for each character made me appreciate every single one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I like that a lot. I want to know more about Pogo, but now that he's dead, I feel like we might not get any more of him unless they
time
do
travel, which
yeah.
we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Maybe he'll be saved in the end because I did like him as a character. I thought he was cool. I felt like maybe the revealing of some secrets, while it was cool, again, like you said, Peter, earlier, it was kind of, at that point, you already knew the answer. Because, like, there's a scene near the end of one of the episodes that might be episode 6 or something like that, where Pogo and Mom are talking, and he's like, remember,
We
you
can't
mustn't
tell
tell
the
the children.
the children, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, what does that mean? I was so hype, and I had to go to bed, and I was like, crap.
But then they answer it like an episode or two later.
Yeah. And
Like
it
they
was-
leave those threads to they keep you coming back.
Yes. I just felt like maybe once some of the reveals of those secrets were not the best, and some of them, like you said, you already kind of knew already. So in the end, it wasn't that great. But I love the cliffhangers as they were, though, like without knowing the answers.
I think that's just how laying groundwork, like foreshadowing, works. Like the mystery is always better than the answer.
Sure, that is usually, unless it's done superbly well. But yeah, that is a good point. But sometimes you do get movies that have great twists and great surprise endings and such like that. But and I feel like this show for the most part did do that though. I'm not hating on it whatsoever. Again, as imperfect as it is, it has so many more positives about it that I appreciated. I liked Hazel's relationship with the donut lady. I forget her name.
It was great.
That
Yeah,
was
that
fun.
was really
That was
nice.
kind of like I was like, oh, I kind of like this character more now. Like, am I not supposed to like him? But then more and more he becomes more charming, and you realize that
Without a doubt.
he doesn't want to be a hitman. He kind of just he realized he found something that he loved in life, and he's willing to do whatever it takes in order to keep it. But in the end, I'm not even sure if that was a thing.
By the way, they survive.
yeah.
They get teleported off too, like right as the world's about to end. So I don't know if that means the commission held up their end of the bargain because he technically helped the world end as it was supposed to.
But then Mary J. Blige died.
So
Why wouldn't she get teleported?
because she's dead.
Maybe because she didn't.
I don't know.
Maybe because she
Why
didn't
would
fulfill her
one?
mission.
Yeah, but
Well, I'm.
going off of what Peter said, the mission was.
Oh, that's
completed.
right. She was in the phone booth. I thought
She didn't die.
I forgot she didn't die after getting hit or getting thrown out of
That
the
makes
car.
me
Yeah,
wonder
because
if
Diego
there was-
doesn't kill her.
There are other supers, obviously. It makes me wonder if
I
Diego
can't
was
wait
super
for
super
that.
I thought that was going to be a big part
Right?
She
of
got
this show.
stabbed. He's tossing around. What's the guy's name? The Gorilla Man again?
Uh-huh.
Luther.
Luther. Like, these guys were strong, and
Oh, yeah.
they were taking beatings more than a regular person.
Hazel
honestly
gets
would.
stabbed like in the last episode or something like that. Yeah, by Diego. Yeah, it's true.
It might just be that they're great hitman, but I mean, there are other unborn.
I mean, he gets stabbed by Diego and then sits down to have a margarita with number 5. It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But so it makes me wonder, is there more to these characters that they're showing, that they're revealing? Was there not enough time to just say, oh yeah, I have superpowers or whatever? I don't know. But it is interesting as to how these people are able to survive the way they do. And
I
fight
thought
as
Harold
well as they do.
Jenkins was going to end up being another super.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. But you
Yeah.
realize he's just like a super
But
freak fan.
that doesn't play into it at all. They say
Yeah.
in the very first scene, they talk about how, 41 people were born on the same day at the same time?
43 or something like that.
Something like that. And he only got 7. So you're like, okay, clearly those other ones are going to have powers and they're going to come into play. But they don't.
They don't. Yeah. Maybe that'll be more season 2.
Exactly. But I'm glad that they did.
I agree. I agree.
I thought that was going to be the overarching thing. It's like, we're going to start seeing rivals. But yeah, maybe that's what season 2, maybe even if we're lucky, if the writing's good enough for season 2, maybe season 3 will get into that.
You
Who
kind
knows?
of get that same thing. I hate to say it, but with like Stranger Things, like 11, and then you're seeing the other numbers come up.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
the same vibe.
Yeah, I feel that.
Maybe it's done better than in Stranger Things, though.
I'm hoping
Hopefully,
so. We'll see.
or hopefully they're both great.
I still like Stranger Things too, though.
Yeah.
Just on a side comment, but
I do.
I will say this.
I
though.
just don't think that episode was particular. It doesn't matter.
No,
We're going
I
off on a
feel what you're
tangent,
saying. Yeah, it was just okay. But I one thing I do appreciate about that, even though there are a total of 43 and they only have 7 of them as a team that we know of, once they said that, they didn't even hint towards a future of those other characters coming in, which will be nice because it'll be like a nice little, I guess, refresher and possible slight surprise when and if they do come into play.
Did they say how Ben died? Did I miss that?
I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
they
Did
just say he was murdered, or Klaus says it
I don't
to him
remember.
too.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly how he says it.
If
But
you
they don't
remember,
say
let us
exactly.
know.
He just says like brutally murdered as a kid.
That's rough.
So he died as a kid.
That sucks. But that's weird how his soul was able to continue growing. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah. Huh. But I guess maybe the afterlife works differently. I don't know.
know.
Either way. But yeah, great show. Great fun. If you haven't watched it yet, go out and watch it. But you shouldn't be listening this far in the episode if you haven't already, though. But ultimately, anything else you guys want to say?
It was great. I recommend it.
Yep.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's for everybody. Not everyone's going to like it, but I think you should at least give it a shot.
I agree.
You might be surprised.
Yeah, pretty darn good. All right. Well, if ever you have any questions or topics you want us to bring up in future episodes, we'll shout you out. Hit us up on Twitter and Instagram. Again, that's at STGeekPod, or you can email us, stgeekpod@gmail.com. But that about does it for Supernatural Technique Geek. Have a great one. Later.
Peace.
Bye.
Check.
Check.
Check your booty.